Should you carry a knife or a gun if you are a concealed weapons permit holder? It's something you should always consider. You know, you got your permit. In my opinion, when we got our permits, those of you who have one, we took an oath on that day when we got our permit. We got our permit to protect our lives, our families' lives, to protect other people's lives in case of a story that I'm about to tell you, which unfortunately is a true story. We're going to use this story, which is a murder, unfortunately, 2 days ago, took place within 5 miles of where I'm standing. It took place at a restaurant. And before I tell you what's on the table and why we should either carry a gun or a knife, let me tell you a little bit about the story. We'll talk about what you would do in this situation, or what I would do. We're all entitled to our opinion. Now, first of all, you have to abide by your state laws, and especially if alcohol is involved. If you're in an establishment that serves alcohol, I have a whole nother video on that coming out, by the way, an educational video on different state laws. That's another story. But you have to know what your state law is if you can carry a gun into an establishment that serves alcohol. In Florida, you're allowed to carry your gun into the dining area and sit down at like an Applebee's or Fridays, and you can eat, but you cannot go to the bar. It's a felony. You're arrested. So in this case, true story, 2 days ago, here's the setting. It's midnight. Everyone's having a good time, and the band just finished doing their last set. There's people in the dining area eating food still, and what happens here? Some guy at the bar probably had too much to drink, or he's just some psychopath. It doesn't really matter. He decides to get in an argument with the bartender over his tab. The bill was less than $12, by the way, and he's arguing with the bartender. He got so upset, he decided to leave the establishment. He left for about 60 seconds. He comes back in, and no one knows if he grabbed a steak knife off of one of the dinner tables, or if he grabbed, you know, some huge knife like this, a spot in the background. No one knows what he grabbed because the story is just too fresh. It's still under investigation. We just know that there's one dead and 4 heroes in the story, and I'll tell you the story, and think of how you would have handled it if you were sitting in the dining area where it's legal and you're carrying your firearm. Now, one of the first questions I said was, should you carry a knife or a gun? In my opinion, you should carry both, and this is a perfect example of why. What really, what took place here is the guy got in an argument with the bartender. He, like I said, he goes out, he comes back in, and he just started stabbing people. Not the bartender, he just started stabbing people at random. One of the first people he stabbed was the drummer who just walked off the stage, just finished doing his thing. He's a very well-known musician here in South Florida. And as he's getting stabbed, 4 good Samaritans within the restaurant and bar area jumped the guy, tried to stop him from murdering the drummer. 2 of them were stabbed critically. They're in bed. It was not a good scene. So the question is, let's learn from this sad story, and this is why you should carry a knife. Now, if you're in a restaurant and you got 4 people trying to save one guy's life, and they don't have a weapon, they're just using their fist and their nails, and God bless those people. They really tried saving the drummer's life, and they put their life in the line of danger and almost got killed themselves. Now, if I'm sitting there in the restaurant and I see this happening in front of me, say 20, 30 feet away, I tell you what I would do. Well, I'm not going to pull out my .45, that Kimber right there, and start shooting up the joint and possibly, most likely, hurting an innocent person. I really don't want to shoot a firearm at all in close quarters like that with all of those people. There's a .380. So, in this case, you would want to use a knife. And I'll tell you right now, that cold steel espada is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, if someone had one of those, or a blade similar to it, even one of these blades here, you got the smaller cold steel blade there. You got the tiger blade right there from Cold Steel. I tell you, these blades have extreme amounts of firepower. There's a cane. Do you see that? That's a cane. And by the way, if you have not seen my Cold Steel sword cane video, check it out. It's informative. It teaches you why you should sometimes carry a cane like this and use it for self-defense. Plus, it's really funny, I think. I think it's one of the funniest videos I've ever made. All right, but back to the story. In this situation, I think the best line of self-defense and also to stop the perpetrator would have been a knife. So, because the knife is quiet, it's only going to hurt the person that you stab, and that, for that reason in particular, is why you would not want to just go start and shoot up the joint. And I'll tell you right now, that cold steel spotter, that extra large blade in the back, just one stab to that guy might have saved the drummer's life. That will decapitate somebody like you're cutting a banana. It is that sharp. It is that powerful. That whole line of a Spartan series from Cold Steel are just incredible, incredible weapons. They actually, when I'm handling them, I'm a little bit fearful. Sometimes I wear gloves just because they are that sharp and powerful. All right, so back to the story. What other weapons may you carry where you don't have to hurt other people but just the perpetrator? How about a baton? That baton is expanded right now, and it's made by a company called ASP. A high quality, it's what the police use. You bop the guy in the head with that, he's going to go down fast. He's going to be knocked out. Now how about something like a flashlight? You see that flashlight? You know, if this is all you have, it's something. It's better than using just your fist. And I'm sorry to do this to you. Okay, that will blind somebody pretty quickly. At least might slow him down from stabbing the bad guy. Or simultaneously use the flashlight with your blade. And this is why you have to practice. It makes you think, doesn't it? I know most of my viewers, which is really cool, 90% of you are really, really into guns, and not so much into knives. It seems that way anyway. I can't really tell, you know, from my comments. But it just seems like most of my viewers prefer gun videos in lieu of knife videos. But I think it's important that you do get trained with at least one knife. You can get a Cold Steel Spartan now for about $75. You don't have to spend like $400, which is what that extra large Spartan costs. I do really recommend you get familiar with a knife for self-defense. Carry it at all times. If it's legal for you, you're licensed to do so, and the facility that you're going to is legal for you to carry it. In addition to a firearm. And I carry that cane sometimes. I'll limp. If I'm going to a flea market where there's 20,000 people, who knows what someone's going to try to do to me there. No one at that restaurant knew that a guy was going to get upset over a $12 bar tab and go out and come in with a knife and just start stabbing people at random. Nobody knew that. I'm trying to tell you to always be alert, be on the lookout. I'm not paranoid at all. I'm just the opposite. I'm not paranoid. I'm just, in my opinion, I am cautious. I get trained by a professional, and I want to be comfortable that when I'm out with my family, if something horrific like this story we just spoke about takes place, I'm prepared to save my life, my family's life, and other people's lives. That's our obligation of having a concealed weapon permit. Saving lives, no matter whose life it is, ours or other people's. Okay, that was my story for today. So should you carry a knife, a sword? That's a Cold Steel sword. Like I said, I did a video on it. Should you carry a 45? Should you carry a 380, a baton? You can't carry everything at once. A flashlight. Just think about where you're going for that day. And I'll always have, like I said, a knife and a gun at bare bones minimal. Alright, thank you for watching. WeaponsEducation.com on YouTube. I hope you found this informative. The way I look at it is if you get one little thing out of each video, you got something out of it. This had unfortunately come from a sad story. Alright, checking out. See you next time. Bye-bye.